This is the Hermitage Dam, the second largest raw water storage facility operated by the National Water Commission throughout the entire island. The Hermitage Dam was built back in the 1920s, with the official commissioning taking place in 1927. At present, the facility is able to store some 393 million gallons of water and is a critical part of the National Water Commission's supply regime for especially customers in the corporate area of Kingston and St. Andrew. Basically, the Hermitage Dam is actually a blockade of the natural flow of the Morsham and Wogwater rivers, with the Wogwater River coming from over to our right and the Morsham River coming from over on our left. Both rivers wouldn't have normally met here in this valley, and what was done was to create this concrete structure blocking the natural flow at the confluence of the Wogwater River and the Morsham River. We also take water into the Hermitage Dam via a 21-inch Ginger River pipeline that takes water from a number of small intakes several miles away in some instances and carries it across the cross-country and deposits it into the reservoir as well. Here we have a concrete structure which makes up the dam, and this concrete structure, which forms the blockade, spans some 700 feet, and at its deepest point the structure goes as deep as 142 feet. Water comes in naturally into the reservoir by gravity. So it flows in from either the Wogwater River or the Morsham River or from the Ginger River pipeline and comes here into this raw water storage facility. The vast majority of the sides and indeed the flooring of the reservoir is actually made from earth, with the exception of this concrete span which forms the face of the dam. The rest of the sides and of the flooring is from the natural earth. So it is referred to as an earthen reservoir, and having taken the water in by gravity, it is stored here. After being stored here, the water is taken out via a pipeline which is underneath this concrete structure on which we are standing to the Constant Spring water treatment plant, where the water is put through an extensive process of treatment before it is ready to be delivered to customers. Through that treatment process, the National Water Commission ensures that the water there meets both World Health Organization standards as well as the standards established and monitored by the Ministry of Health. Like other dams, this is actually referred to as the spillway. Here we have the concrete structure which provides the blockade against which the water coming in from the rivers by gravity would come up against the blockade. It goes up to the tower, and that is referred to as the draw-off tower. But in instances where you're receiving more water than can be stored in the reservoir, you need to have somewhere that excess amount of water goes. So it continues in the natural path that the river had flowed before, and this is referred to as the spillway. This does not take water to customers, but it is here to allow any excess amount of water that cannot be held in the dam because the dam would be filled at that time, to flow over underneath this concrete walkway and flows into the spillway and continues downstream as part of the continuation of the Wogwater River. This river, to which the spillway is joined, continues and flows all the way back to St. Mary. Underneath the concrete structure would be the pipes and the other conduits into which we collect the water which is transferred to the treatment plant. That is connected to the draw-off tower, and we can manipulate the height at which we are taking the water out of the reservoir, or the particular valves which we need to operate to get water to go to the Constant Spring water treatment plant. Like in all other dams, you would not expect to see water in the spillway or water overflowing if the storage level in the dam is low. The spillway would only have water when there is an excess amount of water and the dam itself is at crest level. So it's not unusual, especially as now we're experiencing drought conditions, to see the spillway being dry.
What is the purpose of the pipes that we see just over there?
That's a very interesting question. The pipes which are shown in the reservoir are actually the remains from a dredging expedition which was attempted way back in the 60s or early 70s. An attempt was made to remove excess silt from the reservoir. They serve no useful purpose. They were left there after the work was completed and have no measurable impact on the operations of the dam. They're not part of the structure. They don't move water from any part of the reservoir to any other part. The actual structure one needs to bear in mind for the reservoir is basically to create a holding space. So once you have the concrete face of the dam here and the sides which are made out of the natural earth of the valley, and the water is kept in that storage area, you basically just simply draw off water from the draw-off tower and take it to the treatment plant. The quality of the water which is seen in the reservoir is a direct reflection of the quality of the water coming in from the source rivers that we had indicated before. So if the water in the Wogwater River is muddy, it will result in the water in the reservoir being muddy. If the water coming in from the Morsham River is muddy, it will also cause the water in the reservoir to be muddy. One also needs to bear in mind that as this is a raw water storage reservoir, which is to say it is storing the water in its raw natural condition, no treatment has yet taken place. And whatever the condition of the rivers, the sources, you will find it replicated here. In fact, it is important for persons to be reminded that even when a river does not appear to be dirty, it will contain microorganisms which are dangerous to public health. And that is the reason why water is always treated. And the National Water Commission has an enviable record of providing among the best water supply services in the world. In fact, we've been rated for water quality in the top 5 countries around the world. And that's no mean achievement. Yes, it's partly due to the natural state of Jamaica's raw water resources, but it's also due in large part to the careful and continued work of the National Water Commission in ensuring that careful analysis is made of the water at all our sources. Samples are taken daily. They are analyzed in our labs, and we make treatment decisions based on that information which is available to us after putting the water through an extensive treatment process.